with the Shimelle design team. I'm doing my second layout, and the challenge this week is inspiration from maps and globes. And here I'm showing you one of my very favorite layouts. It was using the True Stories by Shimelle, and I'm going to use this photo of my two kids on the beach. So I was thinking, why not just use a layout that I already love and just remake the layout with different products and see how different it will turn out. And here's a cut file from the Cut Shoppe. I've already cut it out. And I kept those pieces, the negative pieces that I just showed you on the cutting mat, I kept those so that I could cut the pattern paper pieces. I just traced around them about 1/4 inch, and here's the cut file. And I love all the the big variety of patterns in the Starshine line. I'm mostly going to be using Starshine, and that's an Amy Tangerine Rise and Shine paper called Chloe. So what I like about the original layout was I put a piece of the gray ledger paper behind the die cut to kind of ground it, and I think that's what I really liked. I think for me, doing layouts is a constant reevaluating what I like, what I don't like, what worked, what didn't work. So that's why I'm going to rework this layout. And if you guys go to shimelle.com for this week's challenge, on Friday when this layout goes live, there's a free sketch download of this based on this page that I made for you guys. So here I decided, instead of using glue, it wasn't really working with my stitching. I just am using this Scotch one-sided acid-free tape. And it's only one-sided, so it works just like regular Scotch tape. And this was a little bit easier. Just slap it on the back, and then I didn't have to worry about the glue seeping under the edges, and it was just a little easier. So here I'm going to finish using the tape on all the edges. And I've had this tape for quite a while. I'm pretty sure they still have it at any of the general craft stores. I think they have it at Target still too. It's just acid free. And I only have the last yellow piece. So before I adhere these to the back, I went and stitched inside around on my sewing machine. And I'm going to adhere that Amy Tangerine Chloe paper. I'll adhere it to the center portion where it says smile and the heart, because I plan to lift this up on some fun foam. So I didn't want to have to cut around the center. I just figured I'd add another piece, and you see it to the right next to the scissors there. So I'm just making sure that all of the pieces are, you see me mashing on them, just making sure they're all not going to pop through the front. Circles and repeating those throughout the layout. And I'm doing that in reference to the globe, because the globe is a circle shape. So I'll have a couple of the ephemera pieces from the Starshine pack, die cut pack, and there's an acetate piece I'm going to use as well. So here I'm just backing this with fun foam to bring it up off of the wood grain background a little bit. And I'm lifting up the edge just so that it doesn't turn downward and touch the paper, the wood grain paper. And this is my super high-tech ATG. I use this one behind anywhere that I'm not directly adhering photos, or anywhere that it is not going to directly touch a photo. I'll use the ATG, and then the pink one is the acid-free ATG. So I'm looking at the inspiration layout again, and I really like how the title is 2 different fonts. And this is an IKEA crocheted coaster. It was only a couple dollars. They're really cute. So that's another circular element. And then I'll trim about 1/16 of an inch on each side of the photo is left with a white border. And I like I didn't use the original, of course, this is a digital photo. So what I like to do is I brought it into Lightroom and I lightened it quite a bit and increased the clarity. And there's a couple presets I like to use for Lightroom. So I use that on this and it looks better than the original. So I like to do reprints this way. Now I'm backing it with some tissue paper, a couple layers. I like to do this just to bring it up off of the back of the crochet doily a little bit. And then I usually do 2 separate layers of tissue. Not the same size, I'll just cut them separately. So here, this is a little luggage tag from the die cut ephemera pack, and this is a little acetate piece. And I'm trying to see if there's a film to peel off, but it doesn't look like it. Those are all die cut pieces from the ephemera pack. And this is the Kepler sheet. I'm going to use the yellow and the branding strip at the bottom, the aqua. I'll also use that piece because I want to reference the original layout where I have it looks like a selvage edge from sewing on the bottom of the layout, and I cut it at an angle there. And then I'll just stitch on each piece. So I'll do the teal and then a tiny bit of the yellow on the left. And this one I'll use my acid-free ATG just because it's the 1/4 inch and it's skinnier. It's much easier. And I can still stitch through that even with the ATG under it. So here I'm just going to use the Shimelle pin to emboss the edge so I know where to cut this. That way I don't have to walk over to my paper trimmer and I can just use my scissors. I love this yellow honeycomb. It's such a cheery, pretty yellow. And this layout looks quite different with a different color scheme than the original, but you see how I cut the edge at an angle there? Reminds me of growing up. My mom and grandma were always taking sewing classes, and that reminds me of the edge of the patterns, how you would cut the little divot out. So I really like that. And then I'll use the Shimelle True Stories buttons, these wood buttons. I really like that they reiterate the really light wood grain of the background paper. The Amy Tangerine Rise and Shine. I like that I have the wood grain on the background and then I need to repeat it somewhere else on the layout, and I like that the buttons have the light wood grain as well. I'm using some of the enamel shapes that I had in my little dish there. I like that her collections, across the collections, they seem to coordinate well. So I like that. You can use some older product and new product and they look great together. And this is the True Stories enamel shapes, and they look great with this new Starshine stuff. So I don't think I got any Starshine enamel shapes, but I like these tiny little stars. They're really cute. To add just a little touch of yellow to each little section here. And then I'm going to take the globe paper. I don't think I show you the name of it. Oh, there's no name on this one. And I'm going to cut out a yellow and a red flower as well as the globe. And the reason I wanted to use the globe from the paper is because it has a little bit of the lime green. I kind of wanted to tie in that on another part of the layout. So I just cut that out. I fussy cut that. And I don't want you to have to sit there and watch that, so I cut it. It took about like 2 minutes. It's amazing how time flies when you're scrapbooking. I'm like, oh, that was super fast, and 20 minutes goes by. So here I'm just picking some more of the enamel shapes, and I picked the blush heart. I like to have the 2 hearts there, you know, one for son and one for daughter. And then I'm going to start finalizing and sticking some more of the things down. Now behind that doily, in order to adhere the doily, since it has a lot of texture, I will use my high-tack adhesive. And you can use score tape, Wonder, Trifilgi tacky tape, any high-tack adhesive that you like to use, you can use to adhere that doily. And I've had the other doily on that layout since October, and it hasn't moved anywhere. It's stuck. So that's good. The reason you just have to use an adhesive that you know will work in your climate. Since I live in a desert, you can't really use that much liquid glue. The 3% humidity will just suck all of the liquid out of the glue and your stuff will fall apart. So the ATG works a lot better here. But you just have to use what works for you. I'm using that chipboard shape, the Coral So Happy. I wanted to add a little bit more of that coral color. And then those chipboard stars from the new Starshine chipboard pack. I'm counting, I'm showing you 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 in that section at the top right, and I want to add 1 more so that there's 5. I always like to have an odd number in each section. And sometimes you'll see me count. Your eye will tell you if it looks like it needs 1 more thing. And I'm going to, I don't think it makes it onto the video. I still have the title and the journaling to go at the bottom. And then I'm going to add 2 more strips, and you'll see that in the final. End up using the stars and then a coral strip at the top, just like I did at the bottom. And then in the final layout, I'll show you 2 close-ups, and then here's the top right embellishment section and the bottom right. And here's the final layout. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.